Hello everybody and welcome back to an episode of Europa Universalis 4. When we last left off, didn't I change these? Didn't I send... Have I really been sitting here for X amount of time collecting crap for money? That would be very silly of me. Of course it didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. My mind is so busy looking at what, planning and pre-planning all this war stuff that I didn't even think to look at that. Don't hate me. I kind of wish Burgundy, possibly England, would come down to help. But they do provide a nice relative strength of alliance, and they do have plenty of war enthusiasm. Not as much war enthusiasm as Austria, of course, but Austria is also actively participating still. By the way, how do you feel? Still 94 of 210 reasons. Hopefully that changes once we siege a couple of your forts. Austria is steadily sieging this one. Meanwhile, I sit on the sidelines and very slowly regain my forces. I only have 8,000 when I'm supposed to have 15 infantry. Problem is, I only gain 129 men a month. And there's a call for peace. Are you serious? That's not good. Because that means I've owned the war goal for a total of 5 years now. That means I broke France. I broke France. I've fully sieged them for long enough that they are entirely broken. But no, I can't. I simply can't. The threat that Aragon poses by still owning Naples is far too great for me to do that. Also, if I declared war on Montferrand, it would likely piss off the Empire, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. And they're also allied with Switzerland now. Out of curiosity, what is actually Bohemia's force limit? And how much of it they're using? 28 of 44. They're not using it to the full extent, but they are still more than dangerous enough. Let's start sieging these territories. Hopefully Austria will come down here, will slowly come down here in time. Yeah, you go, Castile. As long as Castile doesn't get command over the fort down in Sicily, it doesn't matter. Where are you going? You're supposed to be going down. That is the Aragon force, though. Wonder where they're going, he said, hoping that they don't come after his own army. In fact, you just come down here. Because we still need that other fort sieged. A new pope, 436. Yes. In Consentus the 8th. Hey, they canceled the military access. But that is a great leader. That is fantastic. 126 of 210. I don't think you can come over here. Hopefully you can't. Oh, I was gonna say. In fact, let's make sure you can't come over here by putting a blockade of ships. What? No. Much as I'd love the likely humongous amounts of cash that you get, no. Because I want you to drop your alliance with Naples. It is absolutely necessary. 133 of 210. Because it should be, once we siege this last fort, that we won't need a full amount of war score to still get him to do this. Accepted peace. Ferrara will cede a territory to Milan and give 10% of the war reparation. Ah. Castile just took some territory, took the 2 forts it sieged from Aragon. And then Aragon allied Portugal again. That is why it increased, but that is actually good. It is very good because now that means we technically have that war score. So literally all we need is to siege this last fort and that's it. I mean, yes, having them take both Aragon and Valencia, those are 2 very healthy territories. Also, why does Granada still exist? Why does Granada still exist? It's 58, and Castile still hasn't just punched Granada in the face and taken the territories? Sheesh. My war exhaustion is high. My war exhaustion... really? It warned you at 5? I thought it warned you at 10. I will not take that, because I know I need a bunch of diplomatic power to do what I'm going to do, but it is going to be worth it in the long run. It's at 28% already. Okay. Now, I've sieged your last fort. Except that you're losing Naples. Aragon will end their lordship over Naples. Perfect. France will cede Maine to England. This is fine. I was going to give Maine to you, you know, but that's more war score than I need. So I don't give a crap. Honestly, you know, it'd be funny if Burgundy actually timed out now. I'll give it a month. Naples has announced me as their new rival. I wonder why that is. I'm no longer the Curia controller. France is the Curia controller, yet they hate me. You see, since Burgundy has very low war enthusiasm, they are very likely to time out of the war sometime soon. But you know what I could do? Wait, what was that? Cede provinces. See, here's the thing. I'm going to be taking a lot as it is. Release nations. Look at how many nations are part of them. Also, that is a humongous, titanic amount of aggressive expansion. There's a lot of nations that could want to punch me in the face, but many of them are weak. The most dangerous one is Venice. I mean, yes, France would also be able to, but it's France. They're not going to be able to by the time everything calms down. And since I'm allied with Austria, Burgundy, and England, that might not matter. So instead, I could humiliate them, but of course I have to give Bar. Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. It wouldn't be enough. What if I didn't take Dauphin? And then didn't take Bar? They would accept. I wonder if I let Burgundy time out of this war. Right? Because Burgundy, well, they did actually siege a couple things. Because if I let Burgundy time out of this war, then I can give all the war score to myself, and possibly even humiliate them. Right? but it probably wouldn't be enough anyway. Ah, screw it. I'll just take Dauphin. Won't humiliate. I'll give them bar. I'll take war reparations. And as much money as you can throw at my face. Which is probably going to be a lot of money. Oh, hey, that's too much money, actually. I still need to have Burgundy be happy with me when I do this. And since I'm giving them a territory, they should be exceptionally happy with me. And that should be good, because there isn't anything else that belongs to Toulouse. Now, hopefully this still works. I don't see why it wouldn't. Where is the subject? It's under diplomacy, isn't it? Create subject. Toulouse. Yes. I do not want to play as the subject. Perfect. All that territory I just took now belongs to a vassal. And now, let's reduce this a little bit. Not all the way. I'll let the rest just time out it on itself. But what I should do now is annex Urbino. Get them out of the way. Corruption is one of the most common and frequent factors of political and economic life. Never in history was this a more prominent than in the times of feudal regimes. Eradicate the problem or gain 3 inflation. Considering what I'm dealing with right now, considering the dangers, I don't want to lose the stability. Because I'd still need to core a couple territories, although having said that, you're the only one who's really dangerous at this point. And there's only one of you, so I'll actually take the stability hit. Hopefully that doesn't end up coming to bite me in the butt later. Well, why can you just demand that? Why can you just randomly demand that I give a territory back that I took ages ago? It's because I haven't put a core on it yet. Well, now that territory is really annoyed, and everybody in the Holy Roman Empire hates me a little bit more because I refuse to give back unlawful territory. Which makes anybody who is liable to be able to punch me in the face more likely to punch me in the face. And it looks like Austria has more or less fallen from the favor. They do still appear to have quite a few men, though, so keeping them as an ally is still preferable. Yes, how are you doing at Naples? You hate me, and 12 years. A lot can happen in 12 years. But now I will rival Naples, and I will rival Venice. I don't like Venice anyway. I am actually 1 over my relation limit, but that's why I'm trying to annex Urbino now. which obviously I believe it's taking a little bit longer because I'm overextended, but Sistine Chapel. The Capella Maggiore, the Greater Chapel, is used for masses that can be held in smaller, less public spaces than the basilicas. The years have not been gentle to the once magnificent chapel that was decorated by Fra Angelico. Its walls are leaning and it is in ruinous state. The chapel should be demolished. The structure is not safe enough for the many masses that are held there every year. A new, more magnificent building should take its place, and there are many famous artists that would be honored if they were asked to decorate the new Sistine Chapel. Lose $43, but gain plus 0.1 yearly devotion for the rest of the game, or gain 5 prestige. Oh, because of negative stability it goes down. See, here's the thing, I don't actually know how the devotion mechanics work, because I never really played... Like, the only time I played a theocracy was back when I played the Papal State very early into the game's life for me. And the devotion mechanic didn't exist then, so I don't know how good or bad that might be. But let's... Fine, let's take it. Also, now that I actually have enough rivals... yeah. I do actually have a fair bit of power projection, but not enough to actually get what I want, which is the extra +1. Also, I'm still going to let that drop for another year until I try to core these. You're allied with Castile, but you're also allied with Genoa, meaning I can punch... You're allied with Venice, meaning I can punch Venice in the face and make you unally someone I don't want you allied with. Perfect. The recent war took a heavy toll on our people. Many were called, few returned. The families of nobles and commoners alike toiled away as they waited for soldiers to return home, but the war ended and they never did. Now the toiling continues, and many being so preoccupied with the work to make up for the lost pair of hands that they barely have the time to grieve. Of the ones who have had time to think, many are increasingly thinking that we have been throwing away lives too carelessly. Ease the tax burdens on the bereaved is what I would choose, because I don't want increased national unrest right now, especially for 5 years. But less money, I have plenty of money right now. I have a looming disaster. The Peasants' War, because stability is negative, and I have overextension over 25%, and yeah, easy tax burdens. I mean, the Peasants' War is eventually something I want to just deal with, for the main reason that the Peasants' War is likely to happen otherwise in times of less likely. Less easier to deal with. Because basically, what happens with the Peasants' War is that it reduces your stability all the way down, right? And then a peasant rebel pops up somewhere. And you have to make sure that there is no territories in your nation that are owned by rebels, and have increase your stability to either 0 or -1. And then the Peasants' War is over, and it will never happen to you again. So it is actually sometimes favorable to let the things making the Peasants' War happen when you have the chance to deal with it, instead of it happening at a much less likely time. Ideally, you don't let it happen at all, but sometimes you get into a situation where if you want to keep going at the rate you have been, you need to not. You need to make sure it can't happen in the future. But yes, pretty much now we're just sitting, waiting for things to happen, laughing at France from the distance. Of course, they absolutely despise me, because hey, I own like 8 territories they want now. But as I push into France, I will gain more power, I'll gain more strength, and I will gain more cultures that they have. Occitan, something, Occitan, I don't know. I'm really bad at pronouncing things in foreign accents. I'm terrible at it. I have already embraced that. And there's still a few territories that have that. There is French. Then there is Gascon. Just over here. Not a lot, though. There's Basque, which is Basque something. I'm just going to pronounce them in my own way, and I'm going to not care about how terribly I'm brutally murdering them. Also, Castile ended up taking Navarra from France anyway. That's kind of funny. Yes, there's the French, and then there's the Norman in the far north, and the Bretons over here. Transferring trade power to England, you're allied with England. You would likely... How easy would it be to vassalize you? Not at all. Not in the slightest. Very, very unlikely. 3 more months? It's still 1.2%. I mean, I'm just waiting for it to happen. Because every little bit of power I can save now is a little bit of power I'll be able to use later. That's how I'm looking at it. And I'm gaining a fair amount of money. I actually have a nice stock. Of course, I haven't been able to upgrade these because I've been using so much power for them. In fact, although I do get 2.5 for war reparations. It's my only thing. You would actually pay back some of the cost for you? Better relations over time. Because since a lot of people have a lot of aggressive expansion with me, that will help a lot. And land force limit modifier would not be terrible. The only problem is that together all these guys actually cost like 3 coins. Like, they're not cheap to keep all those guys up. You know what else isn't cheap to keep up? I probably don't need all these forts on right now. In fact, I could probably maybe eventually get rid of one of these forts in here. Because, you know, 2 forts right next to each other. Kind of a little bit of a waste of space. Lucca has started the coalition. I like how as soon as I get the thing to help me reduce the coalition starts. And of all the people to start the coalition against me, it is a 1 territory minor. As you can see, is now 3.3 yearly. Genoa absolutely hates me as well. They did it as well. That's okay. I honestly couldn't give 2 craps about you because you're part of the Holy Roman Empire. I couldn't fight you if I wanted to. You know who else I want to think about, though? I want to think about Pol-Lithuania. Pol-Lithuania is friendly with me. Pol-Lithuania is friendly with me. Having the strength of that entire nation on my side would be great. Also, what? How do you exist? How do you exist? I mean, yes, you're allied with Muscovy, but aren't you a little bit large for them to, like, vassalize? How do you still exist? Also, Livonian Order took a couple territories from Novgorod, but they seem to have separatists on it, so it might not matter. This is very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen them actually expand. like, ever, because they're generally eaten fairly quickly. Also, the Golden Horde is dead. That happened fairly quickly as well. But Lithuania, man. Hey Denmark, how's it going? Huh. Maybe after I annex Urbino. Also, what I do need to do is actually start improving relation with you. Yeah, as you can see, Austria has slowly reduced its force limit down to something it can manage. Hungary declared war. Why does that make any sense? In any sense? Because it doesn't make any sense in any sense. And nobody wants to join me in a war until 62. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Although, by the looks of it, I might not be able to call them in at all, because they all don't have terrible relations with Venice. That is not good. That was my only other option of expansion. Because obviously, you are allied with Austria. And you would help, but you wouldn't. And I'd be facing Austria and Venice on top of Hungary. I would not be able to do that. And if I were to, say, attack Florence, same deal. Attitude towards enemies. Burgundy would help, but Austria would, but they'd also have to get out of their 400 ducat debt. Oh, and they're allied with Castile anyway, so yeah. I will improve my army. In fact, I can get better army now. Though our grip on the throne of the Papal State may be slipping and our legitimacy questioned, our pride and prestige took a hit when one of our subjects spoke up against us in public. They claim that we have no right to govern them as we can barely manage our own country. And that happened to Urbino right as I'm about to annex them. Well, I don't care what you think. You're about to be governed by us anyway, whether you like it or not. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, about that. Although I don't have diplomatic reputation anymore. So, before... What? They're no longer friendly with me! I missed the chance, didn't I? Well, for 10 years I'm going to have worse relations now. Yeah, diplomatic reputation is like negative 17 or 18 now. It says negative 13, but I used to have a positive, so it ends up doubling up. Also, where is my fleet anyway? There's my fleet. I should probably think about having my fleet protect somewhere. But I believe I have more than enough money. I actually have just enough force limit to handle those guys. That's nice. But now I have Toulouse, which, although they are a little bit iffy, by and large, they're still perfectly fine with my existence, and the fact that they exist under me. So, let's separate all the patrol ships and have them patrol Alexandria for a bit more money to be sent to Genoa. I am terribly, terribly bad at managing that stuff, as you've probably noticed. That's the one thing I never really get a grip on in this game is trade. Incorporate Toulouse into our country. That would be nice. Recover negative stability. What does that do? 5 prestige. Screw it. It's not like it's going to be very difficult. What is going to be difficult is dragging on this video any longer, because this is basically it. So when we come back, I have successfully taken a sizable part of France. And they are not really allied with people who are very powerful, and my allies still obviously hate them. So I could very easily continually chew on France, and in the future, chew on Naples as well. Maybe even chew a little bit on Aragon, but that would be a little bit iffier because they have Portugal and Milan with them. As such, it would be... I would have to have all my allies in it, and it might be a tougher battle to fight than I'd like to care for. But I'll think about it. But that is all for now. Until next time, see you later.